Hey everybody, this is Perch, and I wanted to talk about this with Joe. How are you doing, Joe?
I'm all right, I guess.
I feel like this is a video of frustration that we're about to get into, but it's a topic that we'll throw up here. We'll throw it up on the podcast as well, which I'm trying to steer people to because you won't have stupid ads, so you should go check that out. But
Yeah.
here's what got this kind of whole thing going. So I'm reading this story. WandaVision just wraps. Great. We have even images of Elizabeth Olsen holding a copy of Vision and Scarlet Witch. And there at least is some mention. She was doing some interviews talking about the comics, that there are comics here, and this is pulling from a lot of the comics. And it did have several moments from the comics. And yet, the news story out today is that the Vision Complete Collection, Visit and Scarlet Witch, Saga of Wanda and Vision, House of M, Scarlet Witch by James Robinson, all of kind of the core titles are on back order and out of print and not available, and won't be available until maybe the end of April, maybe later. Joe, what the fuck are they doing?
You see, with something like this, one of the benefits of destructive monopolies that destroy people's lives is some level of coordination.
Yeah.
You at least think, oh, if Disney is gonna own Marvel and this and that, like, and you would think, since it's all under Marvel Studios and there should be some level of coordination, that they would overprint books that have to deal with what everyone's talking about. And you can't even make the argument, oh, we had no idea that WandaVision was going to be this popular or not. It was engineered to be a success.
Yeah.
We've already seen what The Mandalorian does and how crazy that makes people. So they walked into this with 2 seasons of The Mandalorian and the highest grossing film of all time under their belt. Maybe bigger print runs. This isn't rocket science here.
And they let the comics refer precisely to what they're showing, not be in print when the show's on.
Yeah.
This happened before when the Infinity War movie came out. The Infinity Gauntlet collection was inexplicably also not in print and came back later. And then mysteriously also went out when Endgame was on. They had a similar shortage. And like you're saying, like, of all the goods and the bads about Disney or any of these companies, you would think at least these giant mega corporations would try and make money. Like they would have these, like, it baffles the mind. And
it does. Here's another quick little thing here. I just Googled, actually I'm in Amazon right now.
Mm-hmm.
I just typed in Monica Rambeau under books.
Sure.
What comes up is Captain Marvel Monica Rambeau paperback at full price, one left in stock.
What are these people doing? Like, okay, so maybe I've got it all wrong, but I mean, you work in this industry. You know a lot of the players here. Is there some, like, isn't this the easiest money you could possibly get? You already have these books. You've already paid the creators. You just need to reprint them. Like,
yeah, it's this isn't hard at all. It's mind-boggling that we're here talking about this right now.
Isn't there isn't this also some of the best money you're going to get? Like, we hear a lot that, hey, maybe the initial floppy run's not successful, but it will make the money back in trades. This is bonus money several trades later, isn't it? Or am I thinking about it completely wrong?
No, this is exactly how you should be thinking about this. This is that gravy on top. This is the ability to make money off these characters. I mean, ultimately, there's going to be a dry spell Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau related stuff between now and her next appearance. That's just
Right.
how it's going to be. So this was your time. This was the time to move
I
on
mean,
that.
yeah, like Monica Rambeau, I think the next appearance for her is Captain Marvel 2, unless
Mm-hmm.
there's a surprise appearance somewhere. We know that's at least 2 years away, maybe more. What in the fuck are you doing? I'm sorry, just what are you doing?
Yeah, but I mean, this is a huge problem in other ways. I mean, there's so many Vision and Scarlet Witch related things, like you said, that are all sold out, whether they're close to the source material that they used or not. It's sold out. You know, I believe the Avengers Volume 2 omnibus was never reprinted, and I'm pretty sure that has the first appearance of Vision.
Yeah, that does.
You know, like just things like that. Like out the gate, there were books that were like, "Oh, we don't have them." It's like, what?
I mean, I'm just struggling. There's been a lot of theories on this. Like maybe the work is somehow been lost in a fire and nobody knows where it is. Maybe when Jim Shooter left, he took the keys to the archive and nobody can get in there, and they haven't called like the fire department over to like break down the door and get into where this content's stored. I'm being absurd, but I mean,
Sure.
I can't. Is it a desire to screw over the original creators by not putting something into print that might give them a little bit of money?
I always go back to the most logical explanation, which is incompetence and being unaware.
Okay.
It's just people are not coordinating. They don't know. Like Marvel Studios is doing their own thing. We're just, nose to the grindstone, putting out these trades, and no one from either side is calling the other person to just be like, "Hey, we're doing a huge movie. You want to like have this stuff in print so we make more money?"
Yeah, you would think there would be like a bonus opportunity. This is how you get your promotion. Like, hey, I saw on the on YouTube that there's going to be Infinity Gauntlet Thanos appearing in this Avengers movie coming out in 3 years or 4 years. So maybe we should get on this. We have 3 years to get it done. I'll make the company a lot of bonus money and then get a promotion. I wouldn't.
Yeah. No, what's going to end up happening is like, for example, the Falcon Winter Soldier is coming out next.
Right.
The Captain America Lives omnibus, where he comes back and takes over from Bucky, like not in print, no plans on being reprinted this whole year. There's, just stuff like that. And I believe the omnibus after that, like the trial of, Captain America or whatever, like that, I think is also out of print. They're just reprinting the first 2 Brubaker omnibuses. Almost all of, like, what was it? A bunch of the Epic collections that have, like the first appearances of like Flag Smasher and, characters like that in it are also out of print or nearly out of print already before this show starts.
I mean, what in the hell? Like I know that the Captain America by Rick Remender, that omnibus that basically leads to him handing over the shield to Falcon, is coming out July 27th after the Falcon Winter Soldier series is done. What again, what are you even doing here? This is the strangest. It's like strike while the iron is cold.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We're seeing a lot of that. I think they put out a Morbius omnibus recently that will almost certainly be out of print before the movie comes out. Like just more examples of these sort of things. They're printing for the first time the Amazing Spider-Man Volume 5 omnibus. First time they've ever done a Volume 5 omnibus ever. They're not reprinting volume 4.
Yeah.
They're only reprinting like volume 2 got reprinted earlier this year. They're reprinting volume 3, and then volume 5 comes out with no volume 4 reprint.
I mean, this seems like the easiest of all the jobs you have to do, of all the struggle of trying to figure out new characters to go into markets, finding new distribution. This seems like the easiest possible money.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just leveraging what's currently going on in the movies. And I shudder. I mean, and it's not just Marvel.
No.
Back when the Umbrella Academy was out, Dark Horse, amazingly forgot to get that book put out when that show was on Netflix. DC has a remarkable lack of Justice League stuff out and available, with the Schneider cut coming out in a couple weeks.
Yeah, the Grant Morrison omnibus will likely be out of print before that airs.
Brilliant. Just great planning. I mean, I of all the problems that get talked about on a daily basis in comics, this seems like the absolute stupidest one there is. I mean, I cannot begin to imagine what people are thinking. You mentioned earlier when we were chatting about this, you have other creators. You're reading some comics right now that are pretty powerful. What are you reading right now?
I was just going through the beginnings of Ivan Velez's Ghost Rider run from issue 70 to issue 94. 94 technically didn't come out until like 10 years later. That's a whole other story. Go look it up, folks. But reading this, and it's good stuff. It's great world building. It's building up a whole new like mythos around a new Ghost Rider. Not new for that run, but he just started that the Danny Ghost Rider, not the Johnny Blaze Ghost Rider, and had all these big plans. And that ended up being a victim of the bubble bursting in the 90s when they cut it short. But it's a 25 issue run, perfect omnibus size, perfect for an oversized trade if you want to do a complete collection.
Sure.
It's never, ever been collected. This was a gay Hispanic man in 1996 writing Ghost Rider.
Mm-hmm.
He was only the second Hispanic man to write anything at Marvel. The first was George Perez.
Yeah.
This is again, we've talked about Rachel Pollack before and some other creators, but like this, Ivan's doing this a full 20 years before people started acting like they care about this stuff.
Yes.
And no push of this, no reprinting. They didn't create any trades or hardcover of this when Ghost Rider was introduced in S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
Nothing.
You would think, I mean, in the most, and people are listening, please forgive me, but in the most cold and cynical way possible, you would think that with all the social topics out in the world, you would say, all right, we have this Mexican gay writer doing this book. We have on DC side, we'd have Rachel Pollack, who is, very, very talented transgender writer.
Mm-hmm.
You would think these two companies would be all over each other saying, look, we've got this stuff. I mean, bragging about what they were doing in the early 90s and trying to get these books out and trying to say, look, we've always been an inclusive industry. And yet absolute silence. You were mentioning the Pollack Doom Patrol has not been collected ever.
Not any of it, nor her New Gods. They announced they're going to do a New Gods movie. They still didn't collect her run, but they're coming out with a John Byrne omnibus that takes place the issue immediately after she was fired off the book because John Byrne said he wanted to do it. I
get John Byrne, definitely a sellable talent.
Of course.
Absolutely have John Byrne's omnibus out as well.
Yes.
But why in the world would you not want to, one, complete runs for fans who clearly like that stuff? I mean, enjoy it. I mean, and Pollack's Doom Patrol is usually spoken of extremely highly in fans. They love it. you also have the angle of in the early 90s, look, we were very progressive. We had a transgender writer. I don't understand. It's free money. It's free goodwill. It's free publicity. All the boxes get checked, and yet you keep it out of stock. It's across the board. This is just baffling to me.
Well, yeah, when the Doom Patrol series was airing, both times they failed to have floppies coming out, which is a whole other problem. They had floppies in between seasons 1 and 2, and not during the 2 seasons. But they put out an omnibus of John Byrne's Doom Patrol run, which isn't reflected or referenced in the show at all.
Yeah, that is not touched. That is the least connected run of the Doom Patrol.
Yeah,
of all the runs. I mean,
but Rachel Pollack's not reprint, not even a trade, nothing. Never touched it, despite the fact that it is outside of the Silver Age run and Morrison's run, the closest tonally to the show.
It's free money. I mean, it's as free as it can get. And it's like these shows, comics take a while to produce. If you were, do you have any idea if you were given the green light, all right, let's get the Scarlet Witch omnibus out. How long do you think it would take from green light to being available to shops?
I don't think it would be any more than 6 months. And that's, they would know well in advance, because, they should be aware.
They do. I mean, people are aware. A 6 month lead time. Again, I think Infinity War was announced publicly at least 3 years before it was in theater. You can't coordinate an Infinity Gauntlet book, and I don't buy the excuse of well, the comic books are small and nobody cares about those, because it's free money. Like, just go get some.
Yeah, this is not asking people to write 6-figure checks to create a new series. This is you're paying for the print run and to pay creatives, but you're only paying the creatives based on the sales. You're not, like, royalties aren't paid on print runs; they're paid on sales. So you're only paying money you're getting.
It's so insane. And your point earlier, I'm doing the same thing now. I'm looking at just JLA. Mm-hmm. We have the Snyder Cut coming out. Lots of marketing going for it. We have the New 52 Omnibus, which is being released June 22nd. So, okay. We do have the, DeMatteis and Giffen ones that are available, but those are probably as different from the Snyder Cut as you're going to get. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. This is Justice League International. The original ones are not available at the moment.
Oh, good.
You couldn't make this stuff up if you tried. I mean, it's been a source of frustration. We've hit this before on retrospectives. It feels intentionally stupid at this point. Like, you couldn't set out to be this dumb.
No, absolutely. And another part of this too is there's been a Flash TV show on for 7 years at this point.
Yeah.
It took them until very recently to remaster and re-release the Jeff Johns omnibuses. They haven't finished releasing the Mark Waid trades.
Yeah.
Forget omnibuses.
Just
haven't finished the trades. You can't get the whole run if you wanted. The Bill Messner Loeb's run has never been reprinted. There are only like 3 or 4 issues. There's a handful of issues at the end of Savage Velocity, which is the Mike Baron run, and a few issues after. And in the Flash 80th anniversary hardcover, they reprinted Nobody Dies. And that is it. You have a whole beloved, award-winning run on the Flash from a man who was going through hard times as this show was airing, that they still didn't reprint that run.
Well, and again, I mean, maybe you have to cough up a check to some creators, but you're still making more than you're paying out. I mean, you're not losing money doing this.
Yeah. And, speaking of Bill Loeb's too, his run wasn't in print until they only finally reprinted that Wonder Woman in Space 6-part issue last year.
Yeah, none of this makes any sense at all. These print runs are not. I mean, I'm flailing around trying to come up with the one little bit of reason why any of this is happening, and there's nothing. It's just incompetence.
Yeah, I mean, there are whole swaths of Superman that are not they've like never collected, or the random weird collections. They haven't collected the Doug Menck pre-crisis Batman run. There's one like hardcover of Gene Colan's stuff that has part ones and twos of two-parters, but not multiple parts. It's a nightmare of a collection. You have, it's whole bits, like everything between the Superman exile and other stories and the death of Superman. There's nothing really collected in between. A rather large chunk of it, they haven't really touched the Superman Red, Superman Blue stuff in a long time. It's very baffling.
It's not like they don't know this stuff sells, because like right now, if I go to Amazon, I look at graphic novels, I see, that obviously their new release is Nubia. That is a new title there. It's currently sitting at number 25 on the chart for DC graphic novels. Above it are things like the Green Lantern by Jeff Johns omnibus, the Man of Steel Volume 2 by Byrne. I mean, Man of Steel Volume 1 by Byrne. You've got stuff that is not new, that is selling on this chart stronger than brand new content they're putting out. And yet they treat this whole omnibus business and trades business like it is just forgotten. It's anyway.
It's very frustrating, and there's a lot of stuff I want to read collected. There's a lot of stuff that deserves to be collected that way. It's not easy to get collections of some of these runs, or heaven forbid that you like to have consistent things on the shelf. If you're an X-Men fan, you have a wonky shelf of like, here's trades, omnibuses, hardcovers, trades again, and it's just a wave of stuff if you want it, because you can't get stuff in a uniform format.
Yeah.
The omnibuses I get to an extent. However, the epic collections, those fat trades, there's no excuse that those go out of print for long stretches of time, years. I don't get it.
Yeah. I mean, there's print on demand services at this point. I mean, like anything, I'm seeing some argument of like, well, maybe this is just an argument to just go digital. Again, fine, you can have it on digital. By the way, it's not much better on digital because there are big holes in runs there as well. But it's again, it's free money. Oh well. I don't know. If you're listening to us, I mean, you sense the frustration, I think, in both of us right now. This is just one of the top 5 stupid things that go on in the industry. This has to be on there, right?
Oh yeah, it's nuts. I don't get it. It boggles my mind. Caitlin R. Kiernan's another one. Her run on The Dreaming, another transgender writer from the 90s at DC. There's a Sandman Netflix show coming out. The Dreaming is a no-brainer for trades, omnibus, anything.
All of it.
Get it done. Like, it doesn't. The Dreaming was easily one of the most successful ongoing spin-offs from Sandman. Like, what are you doing?
I feel confident that, I mean, whether you like the content or not, I mean, Miss Marvel is a show coming to Disney Plus. Pretty confident there will not be an omnibus for Miss Marvel out when that show is out. I'm pretty confident that Loki's not going to be in print when that show's out. That's 6 months away. So if anyone there at Marvel's listening right now, like, hey, pull your head out of your ass and get some of these books out there. It's free money for you, dummy.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. And the other thing too, to really hammer this home, they don't care about overwhelming customers with way too many comics coming out. No one has the money to buy every floppy coming out anyway. At least start scheduling releases and re-releases of some of these books, make them available. It again, it just boggles my mind that there are so many classic runs that are difficult to get your hands on. Like, I know we've gotten pushback before from people saying, what are you talking about? Everything's like, it's easy to get stuff. It is not.
No, it's not at all.
Yeah, it's very difficult. The Batman, like, their Epic Collections equivalents at DC, but they don't call them that. They call them different things. For example, there's the not for pre-crisis stuff, post-crisis. They've got Batman the Caped Crusader, which is the Batman title, and then Batman the Dark Detective, which is Detective Comics. But the Caped Crusader starts with like the Jim Starlin stuff, so it doesn't start till like issue like 416.
Yeah.
And the stuff before that, like 401 to like 415 minus, year one, hasn't been in print for several years. And it's like, and the first volumes, like the first 2 volumes, I think, of Batman the Caped Crusader are out of print.
Yeah.
But the 4th or the 5th one, I think, was solicited. But you can't, if you just found out and you were like, oh, I wanted to just pick up a bunch, and you can't.
It's this has been a frustration, I know, for both of us, and for me at least, it's moving from frustration to legit anger. It's no longer seems like, hey, a bunch of dummies are messing up. It's like, I mean, this is something you get actually heated about. It's nuts because it's a time where we see the business going more to graphic novels. Again, every single thing you could do makes sense by just getting your trades and your omnibuses out, and then failing to do it is just numbingly stupid.
Absolutely, it's free money. It's inability to, really pay homage to your past, to celebrate creators that should be celebrated, to celebrate the forward thinking and diversity that many of these companies had several decades ago.
We're talking about very, very strong efforts to diversity 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Like many of the people listening to this video were not alive then.
Mm-hmm.
Before you were born, they were doing things that were incredibly new, incredibly daring, and with amazing writing. We said it before, Rachel Pollack's Doom Patrol is amazing.
Yeah.
Stupid. Just beyond stupid.
Yeah, it boggles my mind. Ghost Rider from Ivan Velez has a very diverse background group of characters. He really builds up a supporting cast for this new-ish Ghost Rider at the time.
Yep.
It's the kind of thing that I think a lot of people, today, if they announced it, would be rolling their eyes and talking about forced diversity and all of that. But this was back in 1996.
Uh-huh.
And it was, it did really well until the bubble burst, but that's what happened to a lot of books at Marvel. And while they did reissue issue 94, like almost a decade after it came out, was supposed to come out, but ended up getting the axe before it went to print.
Yeah.
They've never collected it. just very bizarre things here, to not just also create trades, like to create a Monica Rambeau leading the Avengers trade where you start from a little before Under Siege straight through her becoming the leader of the Avengers.
Yeah.
Why is that not available? Why wouldn't you have the ability, you own all of this IP, you own all of those issues, you can create your own book here that's just highlighting how amazing these characters are,
Sure.
and the heights of where they went, and they're not doing it again, like you're saying. It's so much money left on the table.
Yeah.
It's maddening, absolutely maddening.
It is, and it's coming from two companies that are owned by giant multinational conglomerates, places, and I mean Disney is a masterclass at milking every dime from Mickey and other licensing pieces they own.
Yeah.
And yet here you have the biggest movie of all time financially come out, and you somehow forget to put the trades out that reference that storyline. You can't even get creative. I mean, regardless of the formats we're talking about, you can't do stuff with digests. You can't do, like, there's so much. Repurposing your old content is the absolute easiest thing you could do.
Yeah,
and they fail. That's that. I don't know. It's not what a lot of people talk about. I know it's not as hot and spicy as other issues, but it's to me, it's easily the dumbest.
Yeah, it's an easily rectified situation that just isn't being rectified at all. And again, I totally understand this idea that like an omnibus is like a luxury item, something like that. But there is no excuse that these trades, these epic collections and stuff like that, especially to sync up with shows that are coming out.
Yeah.
Like, why don't you do that? I do know that the What If omnibuses are coming out because they're doing the What If show. We will see if they are already sold out before the show happens.
I think we know the answer to that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay. Well, Joe, thank you very much for chatting with us. I'm going to send you a case of whiskey. I'm going to leave right now and go get it because we both need it.
Please do.
And everybody, thanks for listening and suffering through this with us.
Yes, thank you. And please yell for these things to be reprinted. They seem to only respond when people let them know that books want to happen. Omar at Near Mint Condition is very good at getting these things to happen.
Yes.
Please subscribe to his channel. Please let him know certain books and stuff, particularly at Marvel. He has Marvel's ear more so than DC's, particularly after like the layoffs and all that. But David Gabriel listens, tunes in to Omar's channel. So if you're looking at this and seeing things that I see, like how have you not collected Ivan Velez's Ghost Rider in any format? That's the guy. He's the guy. David Gabriel's the guy who can do that. So
actually, and to the point, we often talk about these things, and you're not sure who's responsible, who's to blame, or who you need. And it is, in this case, there is a clear name. It's David Gabriel. He is the guy at Marvel.
Yes, for him to know. That being said, be nice. I'm not like I'm speaking hyperbolically what I'm saying. Yeah, all about that. Like, no, please don't yell at anybody.
Be not emotional. That's the wrong word. Just get your point across. Yes, please don't. Please, nobody take this and go to these channels and make an ass out of yourself. That's not going to help anything. But
no.
Yes, because just have your voice heard.
Yes. Like just get these things out. Finish up Mark Grunwald's Captain America run. There are issues of that run that have never been collected ever.
Yeah, ever. It's absolutely bizarre to me. Joe, thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you. And thank all of you for helping to push and make these books possible. Come on, we can do this.
Come on.